Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. This is an Auburn team that's 3-2. They're 0-2 in league play. They crushed UMass 59-14. They went out to Cal in a weird SEC Pac-12 game and won it 14-10 late night. I loved the kick time there because LSU had a late night game against Grambling, and I could get home and watch a little bit of Auburn and Cal, which I did. And it was an ugly football game, but Auburn won it 14-10. They came back home and played Samford and beat them 45-13. And they got into SEC play, and they've dropped a couple to some pretty stout defenses and solid teams. They went to College Station and lost 27-10 to A&M, and they got beat by Georgia at home 27-20 last week. So that's how they got here. Question is, what did we learn throughout that 5-game path that has them at 3-2 and 0-2? Well, their scoring offense is number 11 in the SEC at 29.6 points per game, which is not good. But if you take out a 59-point walloping that they gave UMass and a 45-point walloping that they gave Samford, and you really just look at Cal, A&M, and Georgia, you're averaging 12.3 points per game, okay? That's not real rosy at all. And I give you that 12.3 points per game as an offensive production. I'm not giving you credit for a scoop and score against A&M. I'm giving your offense credit for 3 points in that one. 14 against Cal, 3 against A&M, 20 against Georgia. That's what the offense has done, 12.3 points per game. So what are they trying to do here? We know that Hugh Freeze is a good offensive coach. We know that he brought in a transfer quarterback in Peyton Thorne. They've still got Robbie Ashford. You wouldn't figure it would be poetry in motion at this point, but what is Hugh Freeze trying to accomplish? Okay. Well, they're number 1 in the SEC in rushing attempts per game. They're 15th nationally in rushing attempts per game. They want to run the ball a ton. And they're number 4 in rushing yards per carry. So they've been reasonably successful at running the ball. Between A&M and Georgia, in those 2 games, Auburn ran it 84 times and threw it 43 times. So it's almost 2-1 run to pass, and they were trailing A&M the whole time and lost to Georgia. So even though they've been trying to catch up and score points in the A&M game and trying to add to their lead early in the game and then catch up late against Georgia, they're still running the ball at a 2-1 clip in those games. Now, what's their success rate when they're trying to run it? Well, it's actually pretty good against Georgia. They ran for 219 yards in that game, and I'll remind you that Georgia has not given up 219 yards in a single game on the ground since a game a lot of you attended. It was in 2018, Burrow's first year here inside Tiger Stadium. LSU that day ran for 275 yards. Clyde busted a big one up the middle. Joe had a big one late down the right sideline. LSU ran for 275 that day. No one has run for 218 against Georgia since that day, and Auburn did it 2 weeks ago. So they want to run the ball. They've got a couple of solid running backs that they'll hand the ball to. Beatty is the change of pace guy. He's going to he's 5'8", and he's got a little speed. He'll get to the edge at times. That's a change of pace back that they've got. And Jarquez Hunter has been there for 3 years now, and he's not a big, huge physical presence, but he's 5'10" and stocky, 215, 220 pounds, and is a solid running back. And then Thorne runs it a little bit. He busted a 60-yarder against Georgia off right tackle on a read option play, and they've got Robbie Ashford who they can go to as kind of a wrinkle player who's mainly in there to run the football. It's a pretty good run offense. They run the read option stuff. They're pulling tackles and linemen everywhere. They're running a lot of inside zone. They run some counter. It's creative. There's misdirection involved. That's the stuff we saw from Hugh Freeze when he was at Ole Miss. And then you get to the passing offense. I could give you like a few stats, and I will, about where this passing offense is for Auburn. What if I just led with this? Army has more passing yards per game than Auburn. Is that a good stat for you? Army throws for more yards per game than Auburn at this point. It should come as no surprise after I lay that out to you that Auburn is 14th in the SEC. That is good for dead last in passing offense. They are number 122 of 133. So there are only 11 schools in the country with a more anemic passing offense than what Auburn has boasted thus far. Peyton Thorne, who's come in from Michigan State, 59 of 94, that's 63%. He's throwing for 128 yards per game, y'all. 4 touchdowns, 4 picks. It's not great. It's not. He's played in 5 games. Peyton Thorne has 643 yards passing in 5 games. Can I put that in perspective for you? Thorne 643 in 5 games. KJ Costello 623 in 1 game in Tiger Stadium in the opener of the COVID year. That's 20 yards short of Peyton Thorne's season to this point in 5 games. It's not pretty through the air for Auburn. It's just not. They're throwing the ball mainly around the line of scrimmage. It's not a lot of deep throws. Thorne attempted just 5 throws past 10 yards against Georgia. He was 2 of 5 on those and threw an interception on one of them. So it's conservative, it's inefficient, and it's not very explosive, which you look at this LSU offense, a defense, I should say, and you say, okay, good. This is not, Lane Kiffin and Jackson Dart. This is an offense you should be able to handle. It's not Luther Burton from last week, who you're going to have to really struggle to stop. Auburn doesn't have that guy. Jay Fair leads them in catches with 18. He's a 5'10", 185-pound sophomore. Sean Hooks, 6'4", senior's got 8 catches on the year. Their tight end's probably the best pass catcher. That's Rivaldo Fairweather, 6'4", 250. He's got 15 catches and didn't play in the first game. I'll split this in half as crisply as I can. This is a terrible passing offense, and it is a very functional running offense. So I have no doubt that what Hugh Freeze is going to want to do is show up in Tiger Stadium, and if he can run it 52 times and throw it 17, he would love it. He would love it. Slow the game, or speed the game up, I should say. Keep the football. Keep LSU's defense tired. Limit the amount of possessions in the game. And try to get out of here with a win where they get some stops in the red zone, have some success running the ball, maybe try to limit LSU's explosive plays, get a turnover like they did against Georgia, and that's your best shot. If LSU comes out and gets up 17-0, 21-0, 21-3, like this explosive offense could, if the defense comes out fired up and gets a couple stops or a turnover, and you put Auburn behind the 8 ball, they're not built for it. They don't have the playmakers on the outside like Mississippi State didn't. Remember how that went? But State could not run the ball, and their offensive line was shot. This Auburn offensive line is not shot. It's decent. It's pretty good. And they straight took it to Georgia on some running plays. Now, a lot of their success in that game was on the edges. Not really jet sweep stuff, but some read option that pulled some linemen that got you to the corner, got you to the sideline. I mentioned the Thorne run. They got Hunter out there a couple of times, got Batty out there a couple of times. Like, it's not, there's plenty of downhill that's between the tackles, but there is some real pressure being put on the edges as well. And I'm certain that LSU will look at that tape and figure out what they need to do to make sure that they set the edges and try to turn that thing back in. It would be foolish of me to sit here on Thursday and say, hey, LSU knows Auburn's going to run it. They got Maason Smith. They got Mekhi Wingo. They got Savion Jones. They got Ovi Ugofu. They got Whit Weeks. They got Harold Perkins. And they're going to step in there. They know what's coming. They're going to shut it down. I don't know they're going to shut it down. But make it tough and force Thorne to throw and give yourself a chance there, because Auburn has had no success doing that. Again, the point totals suggest it. For a team that is running the ball well, to score 14 on Cal, 3 on A&M, and 20 on Georgia is just not very productive at all. it's one-dimensional. And at least if you're LSU's defense or you're an LSU fan that's listening to this show that is concerned about the defense that's going to be watching this game, you should feel a little bit better about the fact that, man, I'm looking at this quarterback, his numbers stink. I'm looking at these wide receivers. 18 catches is leading the team. 8 is second for the wide receivers. I mean, that's one day at the office from Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. This has taken them a month and a half. If LSU allows Auburn to come out there, throw it all over the place, and score a bunch of points, I can't say stunned, but startled. I'll be startled. How's that? If Auburn gets the run game going and controls time of possession, I won't be startled. That's going to be their plan coming in. Be LSU's job defensively to make sure that doesn't happen. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.